do that's special for them because they're worth it. Second way to double sales is what I call the superstar growth strategy. Now I'm going to talk to you even faster because I'm seeing them run out of time, and I can teach you the third way. And this is a way of hiring top producers is actually a growth strategy. There's a psychological profile to the type of person who can't help but grow business. Anybody like that in this room? Okay? No? Come on, you're the entrepreneurs. How many people in here, you can't help but grow business? That's your psychological profile, right? Put you in a situation, you're going to grow it. Yes or no? Okay? That profile is with you when you're young. Most of you had it at 15, at 19, at 17. You had it. You know, I had a paper out when I was 14 years old. It had 26 people, and I never thought to grow it. And then one day we got a notice saying you should expand your route, and you get a chance to win a free bicycle. A year later, when I gave the route back, it had 126 people on it. Took 3 kids to take it over. So that's a psychological profile, the type of person who loves to cold call in the morning. It's twisted, I know, but you can find those guys while they're young. You hunt for them. You seek them out. And I'll tell you, one of the ways to get them is to test their resolve very early. So we actually, when we screen for top producers, we reject them in the first 30 seconds of the conversation. We literally say, look, we got 55 other candidates. Why should we want to interview you? And, you know, well, they really like people and they like sales. No matter what they say, we say, nah, I'm really not your top producer. We reject them. So 9 out of 10 at that point go, you're not? No. Well, okay, bye. Bye. And that's 9 out of 10 that we get. But 1 out of 10, you say, I'm really not here to top producer. And I had one guy say to me, well, maybe you're deaf. I was the new guy, and I started out selling people who've been there for 8 years and only 8 months. And the job before that, like, dude, you got the job. You can sell. And you can tell, right? That's the type. I mean, ideally, they start to qualify you. They start to say, well, what do you think makes a top producer? You know what I mean? They start to qualify you, right? So the greatest weakness of salespeople is phone phobia or weak closing skills. You get them while they're young. They have their profile at any age. I've hired 19-year-olds who literally set the world on fire. These are the top 2 traits. I missed the plug. That was actually took me 6 minutes to talk him into proposing. So that's my son. Serious overachiever. Kid's going to do well. He's just a college kid right now. Of course, you know, 3.8, grade average, etc. So there's 5 traits of overachievers, but I'm going to give you the top 2, again, in the interest of time. Number 1 is empathy, right? Sincere interest in helping the client. Number 2 is ego strength and ego drive, right? That's not a bad thing if it's balanced with empathy. You get too much empathy, they can't get an appointment, they're too nice, too much empathy. They can't close, too much empathy. So you need a balance of these 2 things. You get too much ego, and then you get this. Sorry, Bob, we're vultures. And that's, you know, top producers who have just a lot of ego. They don't bond well, they don't play well with others. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody had that type, you know? They're just all ego. Now, in some positions, those are good. We have a call center with 88 people taking phones from the radio ads, and those guys got, you know, 11 minutes, 14 minutes to close you. So those need to have strong ego drive. So, spot them everywhere. I've hired them out of a sweater store, a guy with a bungee jumping business. They've built empires. So it's a growth strategy. If there's some area of your company that is not growing, you put someone like this in charge of it. I have 12 companies. They're all run by people like this who are classic overachievers. And I put them into a situation, gave them a high commission structure, and they built a whole company around that. And now build that infrastructure. And of course, that's my daughter, like both kids. I do that to embarrass them, really, because sometimes you're in the audience and, you know, they really hate when I do that. Pay well in performance. No matter how small you are, you can get others to help you grow. I had a guy who was a singing coach, and he had no idea how to grow his business. And I said, have you ever hired a salesperson? He said, no. I said, well, hire a salesperson, give him half of the first month's money that you make. He charges $1,200 bucks. That's $600. So I said, then a person lives to make you successful. And so the first guy he hires gets 6 people in the first month. Well, 6 times 600, guy made $3,600. He was feeling really great about it. And the singing coach guy was like, wow, this is great. I want to hire 5 more salespeople. And that's what you do, especially if it's a straight commission job, right? Churn and burn means you're going to churn and burn. You know, they're going to come in, they're going to burn out, they're not going to work out. It doesn't matter. You just keep going. You keep hiring more. Okay, third strategy We do. 50 last week, 68 the week before that. Third strategy, market data is way more powerful than product data. If you offer to teach something of significant value, should be underlined, you will find you can get more appointments faster and easier. Just as we did with the newspaper company, you can attract a larger crowd than when you just try to sell. That's one of the ways I got Tony as a partner. Was I first got him as a client, and I rewrote his radio spots, and they started outpulling his old spots 10 to 1. So where he used to pull 50, he pulled 500, the same amount of money. And it was all using this kind of a technique. You'll gain faster credibility and influence right on the spot if you teach someone something of value. You try to sell me, I'm going to resist you all the way. You teach me something of significant value, and I kind of lean forward and go, that's kind of interesting. And you establish a credibility that gives you influence in the sales process. So here's an example of a company that can show you 50 different chronic conditions that are all caused by the foods that you eat. You get a headache, it's a food allergy. Migraines, food allergy. Fibromyalgia, food allergy. I mean, there's like 50 different chronic conditions. The problem is that it requires a blood test. And in order to get a blood drawn in this country, you've got to have a doctor prescribe it. So he can't get doctors to even look at it because it's an alternative therapy. You know, they never heard about it, they don't want to know anything about it, they won't do it. So we put together a seminar series, we get doctors in a room, we say, Doc, in the last 10 years, what happened to your income? He goes, not really sure. Well, it stayed the same. In that same period of time, your staff expenses have gone up 33%, your workload has doubled. We do this a little more interactive, but in the interest of time, I'm rushing through it. Cash practice, we're dealing with insurance companies, Doc. I'm mostly dealing with insurance companies. Do you like that? They hate it. They're the ones causing them to do twice as much work. The respect you once had, family used to be #1 most respected profession. Now they are, like 1 minute. Now they are number 16, and garbage workers are number 11. Consumers turning in droves for alternative therapies with or without you from $46 billion, doctor, to $460 billion. 70 million more visits last year to alternative therapists than to medical doctors. That's a fact. Now, have I tried to sell him anything? Have I? No. Is he interested? Right? He's listening, and I haven't even tried to sell him anything. So we call it setting the buying criteria using market data. It's a very, very powerful strategy, which of course I don't have the time to do justice here. So here's what I can't teach you here tonight, how all this works together that would give you a night in front that would make it much more powerful, how to systematize any business just 1 hour per week. That's all we do. The critical qualities of great entrepreneurs, serious about building a fantastic business that runs without you, and that can someday sell for a fortune. But I can teach this tomorrow at 10 o'clock at the W Hotel, and that's what I will do. Thank you very much.